All right, we're going to jump into our next segment. It's Furu of the Week. I think a lot of people know already who my pick is going to be, just based on the back and forths that we've had. Since we've had discussions with other people, they don't really have a Furu that stands out to them this week in terms of trying to showcase themselves. Well, maybe they do for a couple other things, but maybe they'll show up later. But mine, I'll just jump right into it, is Chris Cornick. Or, I don't even, is that how you pronounce his last name? Cornick? Something, I don't know. Cornick Trades. We're going to go with that. So basically what's been going on is the fact that he's running an account challenge on a $300 micro account or whatever it is. The problem that I had, and originally started it all, was the people that had been calling tops at levels that weren't been trading. And while this happened to the T on, it was 31.55, he nailed it. It was an after hours trade with limited liquidity and thing. It was nailed. I'll give him that. All right. But what proceeded next and what was forgotten in the past was the countless times where things were not called right. People who follow him religiously would know that weeks prior and future times, the huge whiffs on the giant crashes that were coming, huge whiffs that the top was called, and this would lead to the economic crash of 2019, all based off of rejection of a 31.55 on ES futures. Everybody forgets that, but because he nailed a 31.55, he wins the award for today, or that day, and so forth. Which proceeded to me to kind of question that and kind of take little jabs left and right every chance I got. What grew from there was what I began to follow more attentively, I would put, was the lack of transparency when someone who is trying to be transparent on the actual side of their account challenge. And that would be hiding all red trades as possible. That would be only showing updates after large gains. And that would be being silent after times where calls were completely whiffed. And I think we're on 25 sessions now since the account challenge on November 11th. And only 7 updates. And to me, that's a big no-no. Especially when you're trying to put on an image and maintain an image of full transparency by showing logs. And I did a little air quotation marks there because I think it's bullshit. I think every time I call it out, people kind of look at it and look to him and see, did he actually do that? No, he didn't. And I love the DMs I've been getting on that because it's funny and it becomes a laughing joke amongst the people that have been DMing me on Twitter about that. That is my Furu of the week. Do you guys have any? Let's just start with the basic thing. Do you disagree with my Furu of the week? And anybody can join in.
I don't disagree, but I also don't do the Twitter because, you know.
Can you guys stop saying the Twitter? Fucking boomers.
Well, like I definitely I take issue.
The Facebook.
I have my opinion on this, and it's unbiased because I like both you guys.
Yeah.
I think you both provide good content.
I mean, it's biased because it's your opinion. That's definitely.
What a twist.
Well, it's unbiased based on I'm not like promoting Tim or
because he's on my show, he's not doing this.
Yeah. Well, so first off, I'll give him some good credit. I follow him and I look at his tweets because I think he's one of the only people who out there is unique Twitter that actually says where to buy and where to sell far and you don't really see that often, and that's pretty hard to do. Mm-hmm. So you have to give a lot of credit to that. There's only really one thing that I don't like what he preaches, and it's how charts proceed news. I think that's just stupid because logically it just doesn't make sense. He talks about how it's a trap where retail traders sell when they should buy, and then big money comes in and gets their fill, blah blah blah. But first off, it doesn't make sense because retail traders are less than 8% of the volume now, so they're fighting against each other there. It just wouldn't work for retail traders to completely fill them. Not only that, it's like it seems illogical to me that all big money's on the same team where they're like, we have a truce, we're only going to buy here and sell here.
Exactly.
We're going to release news at exactly these points, and they know advance, and then no one's going to front run the news, or we have a truce. That just seems weird to me.
Well, do you want to know why that's not true and why that's stupid to perpetuate that whole mindset? Is you get to see the returns of all these companies that supposedly manipulate the market. You know, you get to see that if they make 8% that year, if they pull in 10% that year, you get to see
it comes
all
down
their books.
Also to bonuses at the end of the year and things like that. But just in general, where it's just illogical to think that everyone's on the same team and they're all playing this. Because if everyone was playing the same strategy, the same locations, people would front run each other, and then there would be no edge.
Yep, exactly. Or people would not make 10% a year, and they would be making 100% year after year after year because they're all on the same team. Like,
it comes down to limited liquidity. There's not enough retail traders to take advantage of. If that was supply and demand is pretty fairly common strategy. If it's so secret that everyone could do it to make money, no one would make money. News is released by many sites and sources, so it's not like there's only like one group of people releasing news to control the markets. You have news released from different countries. You have news released on different aspects of the market, whether it's in the dollar, oil. Everything can move ES depending on what it is. So it's not like, a trade deal. Of course, we know that Trump is dropping news on a trade deal or no trade deal to manipulate the market. We know that. But it just doesn't make sense that there's a group of people behind it and everyone just is like, we agree to do this.
So I think
the steps to make that happen would just involve way too many people, because you have the rich people that are like, okay, we're going to have these people control our money. Then you have to go down to the programmers. You have to go down to the marketing people. Just so many people involved at some level just seems very illogical.
Somebody would step forth.
Not only that, but it just seems illogical that everyone would be on the same page.
Yeah. Or someone would just quit their job and then all of a sudden just take that home and then just make as much money they fucking wanted to,
Right. And I want to say one thing where, I think the strategy does work well. I've seen a lot of his calls, and I think overall it does work well. I think he makes more good calls than he does not good calls.
Fair enough. I'll give that.
But I think it's kind of an illusion.
I think it's to maintain an image.
No. I think, well, maybe, but I think what I'm talking about more about, I don't really care about what he does on Twitter because I don't really care, but I'm talking more about the illusion of how a strategy works. I think the main illusion is that the supply and demand zones do work fairly well because of leftover orders, common tactics to buy at these locations, and people on the reverse side that went short get out for break even. So when news drops, I think it just accelerates where it goes to that location and bounces. It's not that they released it at that location or to push it that location. It just, news will accelerate things, so it looks like, they dropped news at this location and it bounced here. It's more that they dropped news and it sped up and hit that level and bounced. Right. Because there's more orders. Because we've seen news drop every day that moves the market. And we've also seen locations that don't bounce as supply and demand. We see news bounce everywhere. So it would be logical to think that they overlap here and there, and then you kind of see that, news dropped as supply and demand, so it bounced. And I just think that's just an overlapping because there's so much news dropping. There's so many locations that we've bounced without supply and demand that there's always going to be news dropping, things bouncing, things speeding up. It's just a coincidence because there's so much news dropping these days that something bounces at news.
Right. So, my problem with that in terms of that his calls are accurate, while I do say that his levels are great, I disagree on the aspect that his calls provide a good thing, because what I found since everything has happened, not only this does that a lot of the tweets get deleted right afterwards, and I've been following that for about since this whole thing started, that there's been more than a handful of tweets being deleted, and it's like, why even delete in the first place? Like, let's end it there regardless of whatever he's deleting. But then we have a 6-hour period, and I'm going to read this off, and this was a couple days ago, and as expected, we saw a relief rally back to 3174, an immediate rejection. Should see a move down to demand at 3146 now. Have a great evening, everyone. So we all know what happened at that point. I did not go back down to 3146, and it fucking rocketed. And here is where my next thing is, and I'm just going to read off the whole tweet once I get back to it real quick. It's this one. So 6 hours later, after that tweet that I just read, he had previously stated a couple days ago that it would reject off of 3188. It was a key level that needed to hold. And so 6 hours later, after the tweet that I just read where he said it's going to drop back down to 3142, he tweets, I warned you guys, 3188.25 was a key level. We hit that level precisely, all capital, and we saw a massive 22.5 flush. Congrats if you too the short. Whatever. This was a key level as I let's cut the alcohol. Specified in the tweet, and we rejected hard there. So a 6-hour difference between, we're talking about a 40 to 50 point range off of whatever happened. Now we talk about this a lot, of that you provide 2 tweets and we delete the tweet that didn't work. And since I know he's already deleting because it's gone in all recent things that that he tweets and replies, so it's not like it just was stuck in a reply or whatever. He's deleting it to make himself and maintain this image. What do you have to say about a 50 point range that he just provided based off of, we're going to drop down, but then we rock it up? Told you it was going to hit that. Do you still feel like his calls are accurate enough, or do you feel like that's some really fucking shady ass shit?
Yeah, I think that's pretty sketchy, the deleted tweets. I think he's doing himself a disservice by deleting tweets, because personally I think he's good enough not to delete them. I think he makes some good calls, and he's a good account to follow. But I think deleting a tweet just, it almost does yourself a disservice by, it would be better just to, this trade didn't work, but overall, we do good. So.
Right, and so it goes back into the whole thing of maintaining that image, but what are you maintaining an image for? Like, if you're not trying to start a service, if you're not trying to, in the future, promote yourself to a point where this can happen, why are you trying to maintain this image? Like, to me, I have no problem ever showing a loss, regardless if it means that my account is stagnant, if my account is dropped, or anything else like that. I'd rather show you the real things.
It could just be some people just could get embarrassed easier. I'm not really sure. Like I said, honestly, I'll be completely honest. I watch his tweets, and I take his levels in consideration. I think he's a very good account to follow. Deleting tweets is not a cool thing. I think that's sketchy, but I don't know. Still overall, I think he's a good account to follow.
It's what, 2 times now, based off of fib extensions. I mean, what, 3155, near 3188, both rejections. I'm not gonna not give someone credit for doing that, but what I'm gonna not give that person credit for is them making 10 attempts prior and then nailing it and be like, damn, told you so, son. But you're shooting 10%. You fucked up the other 9 times where you tried to call the top. You fucked up the other 9 times trying to say it was going to crash. But
calling the top is always stupid. That's just kind of like a weird thing that people do.
Yeah, I mean, it's awkward that it's hit twice now, but people only remember those because, oh my god, they hit exactly. But no one remembers the fact that he called the flush, right there. It's going to flush down to 3146. It's going to flush down to here. It's going to flush down to here, flush down. It's going to hit 3188. And all of a sudden it's wow, he called 3188. Who would have thought it? It's like...
I mean, if I had to be, picky, I would say that, like I said, I don't like the chart precedes news, and I stated why. I mean, there could be just different opinions on that. I really think that's kind of like too conspiracy for me. I think that also saying things like as expected or something kind of comes off weird because, no one's that good. And a lot of things get missed that don't work.
Yeah.
And no one posts like as expected. It blew past my support.
Well, like his tweet, the market is highly manipulated Ponzi scheme, and the truth is, if you read price action properly, you can join them, and then scam.
I don't think that's correct. Because it's just like there's no boys club where every single hedge fund's on the same team.
And this is what I mean. Like we only remember the times that it did work.
But at the end of the day, I'm going to be on his side here. At the end of the day,
that's okay.
As long as he's not providing a service with like some of the sketchy things he does, I think he's a good trader. I think he makes a lot of great calls. I don't think there's anyone I've seen on Twitter that calls areas like he does. That sticks his head out there and says like, I think it's going to bounce here.
I think there's a couple people out there. I'm not gonna put him in that category, but I would think that what he does is.
I would like to see who they are though, because I haven't seen anyone who really puts their head out there and it's like, I think it's going to bounce here, sell here, and make directions. That's really hard to do, man.
No,
I think he needs a lot of credit for,
How about this? I think he needs to just kind of kick back and just work off of his thing. And when it doesn't work, don't be afraid to be wrong, but also don't fucking carry around this ego that like, oh, I fucking told you, like this type of shit, or try to run like parade around like I only have green trades, bro. It's been 2 months and I haven't lost a trade. But we all know that it has been that.
I do think he is very skilled, though.
Yeah.
I think he's very skilled, though. I think his skill is there. There might be a few issues with things like you say, but overall,
like whatever the fuck it is.
Overall, I think he's a really good trader. I honestly do. I think he provides great content, and I would suggest people reading this to follow him.
I think that. How about this? How about this? Like up until these recent events where he started the account challenge, I genuinely felt the exact same way as you, and I think me and you have talked about it a couple times. Like I genuinely felt like he got a damn good grip on supply and demand. Like he's got a damn good grip on it, and he knows what he's doing. But then all of a sudden, this account challenge came in, and he became so afraid to show that something wasn't working. It's like he's afraid to show that his ability to adapt to being wrong. And I think that's the key aspect of trading that needs to be viewed. And when you try to hide that, and when all of a sudden it's like, it's going to drop down to these levels, I'm short, and I have a stop loss here, and all of a sudden it fucking hits the stop loss, and like, that's fucking 50% of your account challenge, but you don't want to show that to anybody. And it's like, why not? Like, just let them know, like, you had a plan in place, it didn't go with your plan, just fucking run with it, but instead, it was hidden. And from then on, it was, I'm randomly going to update you once every week or so, and it's going to be, oh, look I made $500 on a micro account, and it's like, all right, cool, like weird flex, why didn't you just fucking play ES and make $5,000? Like, stupid as fuck. Like, you have enough money to fund an ES position, just fucking play ES. Like
I think what it comes down to too is it's extremely rare and hard to why, if you're doing an account challenge, I think if you want to be fucking super open, you should record your sessions and then post them.
Yeah.
If you want to do that, I understand
show the fucking
that's hard to do.
Logs of every single day.
Show the trade logs of every day, not screenshots. Trade, if you want to go ham, trade live. That is hard to do. I tried that a few times. I did good a few times, and then sometimes I sucked. It's hard as fuck to trade live because you have people in chat just fucking bitching. Oh, I'm long here. Why did you do that? And it's just
they try to give you hints after all of a sudden. You have,
getting tips when you're trading live is the most annoying thing I've ever.
And I think that's the big thing too. Is like the realistic aspect of things is that people should have like a win percent rate of like 50% or so. Like losing some, it's all about like cutting. We've talked about this so many times, like cutting it smaller so that when you lose, it's small, but when you win, it's huge, just based off of that. But like, you shouldn't be like 90% win rate and 10% loss rate. Like, it just shouldn't be that way. Like,
No,
I
anything
write
over
those people off
70%.
right away.
yeah, exactly.
Like,
It's
I
been
could-
a month. It's been
I
a
could see
fucking month.
60%, 65%, even 70.
I can't see 7. I
If
can't even see
70,
60.
okay, so
In a
there
month?
are there are times you could have 70%, but you will be a style kind of similar to some algorithms where they risk 1 guaranteed, or they risk 5 guaranteed to make like 2.
Yeah.
So, and they get good fills and they scalp it super fast, or they risk 4 to make 1, or something where they should win every trade, but when they lose a little more. Kind of the opposite of what a retail trader should do.
Right.
I mean, that's possible, but having a long-term average like over 65%,
Or a month-long average of 96%, because I think he had 1 trade that was red. 96%. If you're fucking trading 96% over a month, fucking go get hired somewhere and make more than what you're trading. Like, they'll take you in a heartbeat.
yeah, that doesn't seem reasonable. I mean, it's possible, but it seems, as a unbiased, I think that's pretty crazy.
Not believable.
I mean, if you did, goddamn, man, that's
then
crazy. Good job.
why didn't you just like show it? Like, if people are calling you out, like, why not take it the moment to be like, here's 2 middle fingers, here's my trade logs, eat it. Like, that's all he has to do, to just instantly shove it in my face, and he doesn't.
Well, when I did my challenge account, what I did to kind of, I don't know if you want to call it the ultimate proof, but I opened up my TD account and recorded my screen, and I scrolled up and down through every trade. So, and there were like thousands of trades, and if I wanted to fake that, the amount of time it would have taken to fake every single trade on a video to make it perfect, line up with every number, would have taken like years and years, and it just.
But like, that's why I do what I do. Is I show my Apple trade, because that's the Apple trade that I fucked up on, and I always show that every single fucking trade, just to show you that I'm not trying to hide that shit, and it just adds on to it every single time. Here's my trades log, so you can go back, you can look at the time and sales, you can look at the graph or whatever the fuck you want to do, and just find my trade that I put
Graph.
on.
Fuck calls it a graph.
Fucking boomer.
Seriously, dude, what is up with you? You don't trust technology.
When I have a little bit of alcohol, I turn into a 90-year-old man, apparently.
You
I don't
really
know.
do, and you know what you're gonna do? You're gonna start listening to like 1990s rap.
All right, there's nothing wrong with that. You need to stop right there.
Yeah, I take offense to that.
What if that makes me a boomer? Then sign me up.
Right.
No, I'm not saying I'm against it, but that's what Tim does. Like, all of his music,
Is
all of his
from the
music is
90s?
from 1990 to like 2005.
Right, but this is what I'm talking about, though. So with this is why it's my thing. Just show the trade logs. If you didn't trade every day, just show you didn't trade by showing the previous day's logs, and then adding it onto the logs of today. So that way, that shows that there's no break. All right.
Well, I mean,
there's
he has a platform. He can post chart versions of every entry and exit.
Wouldn't that be great? Because then everybody could genuinely learn from all of his entries and exits on when to actually take the position. That would be so amazing.
We do have to not overstep the boundary, though.
Of what?
He's not charging a service. He's doing it for free. He doesn't owe anyone anything.
All right. Here's why I'm going after him, because he's not charging a service, like a thing. And like, if he was charging a service, like, it would be over, and I would be using a lot more words and harsh words. But because he tried to slide into my DMs and try to like start shit with me through popping onto some alt accounts, or just straight up messaging me like, oh, I'm going to show you some trade logs, and then proceeds to not show trade logs for 4 days, shows the trade logs, doesn't show it for 5 days after he DMs me about this, like it's just like a personal attack at that point, and I'm just going to come after you. Like, you better like show full transparency, or I'm going to find every loophole, which I did. And I have all his fucking tweets saved where he tries to call a 50-point range. I have all these things that he says this. It's like, just don't try to do that with me. Like, I'm going to come after you. Like, I don't feel like I need to hide anything, because I'm fully transparent. I show you every single trade I make. So just like, that's why. Like, I'm not overstepping any boundaries. It's like, if you try to attack me personally on that type of level, just don't do it. I have nothing to hide. I will show you anything and everything. So that's why I'm doing that.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I have nothing wrong with people who don't run a service. If people, I'm not saying he does, but if people want to like fake gains and stuff, and they're not running a service,
I think there's an ulterior
they run a
motive.
service, I'll be like, you know what, you're.
I think there's an ulterior motive, and as much as he wants to talk about, the whole side of things of I tried to run a service, I was not going to. I think there's future plans too. I genuinely think there's future plans to do that, and that's why I'm calling this shit out now, is because no one wants to get this type of attention, show that type of things without wanting to, how about this, and maintaining an image. Like, if you're not trying to maintain an image of always being right, then what are you trying to do? Then it's just like a personal fucking thing, and like you're like some type of narcissistic asshole.
It's just possible some people just
exactly, that's what I mean. Like,
kind of might be embarrassed.
Yeah, but embarrassed for what? Like, oh no,
I don't know.
have
some people just don't want to be
50%
wrong.
win rate. Like, oh no. Like, it's just, I think it's wrong in all sense. And I just
that's what worries me. Like, I don't listen to people that say they don't lose. I can't. I know what happens with that, and
It's
I'm
a big
never gonna
red
take
flag.
any of their plays.
yeah, it's a huge red flag, especially when
But
you show one red
it-
trade in a month.
At the end of the day, I think he puts out some good information out there, and if there's no ulterior motive or anything, I think he's good at putting out a lot of great info, and I don't know, I think it's good.
I will say
I
that
think he has good chart porn.
Yeah, he does.
Definitely good chart porn.
But I say take it in with what's the saying, with a grain of salt, and if something brews later in life,
It's with a drop of hot sauce, Tim.
with a drop of hot sauce. Speaking of that, I'm almost out of that shit. God damn it. The bomb, whatever the fuck it is. Ugh, that is the worst shit in the world, by the way. Don't do that. But anyways, so just if it comes down the line and it turns into exactly what I think it is, I'm pretty good at predicting shit when it comes to this, just based off of human nature and emotion.
Why is it the bomb almost out?
Oh, because I put myself on there. If I take a red trade, it's out. Yeah.
So you're not good at predicting stuff.
I knew, the second I saw that, I was like, God damn it, no, I'm not fucking gonna do that. But yeah, I saw that coming. See, predicted you.
You did, ironically.
But that's what I'm saying. It's just, I think there's an ulterior motive. I think there's going to be something down the line, just because of the unwillingness to show actual transparency that he has a red trade. No one does that unless you're trying to do something later on. That's my take on it. Other people might have it, but
there's a few people who have done that. Never started.
Name one. I will gladly.
I don't want to mention it on the podcast.
Oh, all right. Well, fair enough. All right. But afterwards,
I think you know who I'm talking about.
It's me.
No.
Shit. All right. Well, no, I don't want to mention. Maybe we'll save it for another Furu of the week. I don't know. Maybe we'll save it for another Furu.
I posted it.
Oh God. Oh. No. Yes. No. All right, but people don't need to know about that. So
I still don't understand that whole thing.
We'll talk about it later, obviously. But that's it for Furu of the week. That's it for Furu of the week. I'm glad we got a differing opinion on this, and I think we both agree that while the information provided is great, the projection of what he wants to show is horribly wrong, in my opinion, and insanely off-putting, and discredits.
There's just no concrete evidence.
For what?
I was just making a pun off of a construction company. I was going to go into those, but I decided not to.
No, just keep them coming. What was the other one?
I don't remember. I spent way too much of my life trying to come up with it.
They were great. But yeah, so
You're such a douchebag.
they were great. That was a solid good 5 minutes of my life where I was just laughing
I
hysterically.
spent a lot longer than 5 minutes.
Oh damn!
Here, let me see here. Let me go back in history.
Just give me two more, and that's where we'll end it.
Let's see. His story was like a slab of drying concrete. The plot thickens.
Hey.
A plot of concrete? Anybody?
Yep.
I can't.
Let me see. You could pull Excalibur from his ass and become king.
Damn it. These are just getting worse.
Oh, sorry. All right.
No, it's okay. It was good. I liked it. I enjoyed it during the time.
Ask him if he needs to wheelbarrow some money from you to keep trading.
God damn it, man.
Tell him when he's done he can grovel at your feet for forgiveness.
Alright. Anyways. So actually I think this is actually one of the only
bury
ones.
him in a cemetery.
God damn it. You're just killing this. I'm gonna have to mute you in a second. So this is actually one of the ones that we actually didn't extend the offer to because he full on blocked me and then he tried to message me, I'm guessing through an alt account, to try to continue to shit post me. So I didn't even want to extend an offer because I don't care. Anybody who's willing to block me because they disagree with my opinion, they can go fuck themselves. And if you have contact with him, tell him go fuck himself. He can talk to me like a man and go from there. And
so much hostility, we should all be friends.
because I don't like people that lie openly. You know, like
We should be friends.
dude can go fuck
All of
himself. So Cornet,
Heal the world.
go fuck yourself. That's Furu of the week. We'll come back to you next week. We'll find somebody else that has been trying to light up Twitter with their favorite
I say,
followings of finding, we had one. Fuck, why didn't we mention it? We'll say that for next week. I'll mention it later in a second.
alright.